Olivia Mitchell, 32, stared at her phone in disbelief, reading the text from her sister Vanessa for the fifth time. "Please don't come to the engagement party or the wedding. It's better for everyone if you stay away." Her hand trembled slightly. After years of being inseparable, Vanessa was suddenly cutting her out of the most important day of her life, and Olivia had no idea why. Hey everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Before I continue with my story, I'd love to know where you're watching from today. Drop your location in the comments below. If family drama stories resonate with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more real-life tales of betrayal and justice. Trust me, what happened after my sister banned me from her wedding is something you won't want to miss. Growing up in suburban Boston, Olivia and Vanessa Mitchell had been more than just sisters, they were best friends. Only 2 years apart in age, they shared clothes, secrets, and dreams. Their parents, Robert and Eleanor Mitchell, had always commented on how unusually close the girls were compared to other siblings they knew. While friends with siblings often complained about fights and rivalries, Olivia and Vanessa supported each other through everything. When Olivia struggled with severe anxiety during her teenage years, it was Vanessa who sat with her through panic attacks, who created a special knock code so Olivia would know it was safe to open her bedroom door. And when Vanessa went through a devastating breakup in college, Olivia drove 6 hours in the middle of the night just to be there for her sister. Blood runs deeper than anything their grandmother used to say, and the Mitchell sisters had taken that to heart. They were each other's emergency contacts, bridesmaids at friends' weddings, and the first person they called with either good news or bad. That's why Vanessa's sudden coldness was so shocking. It had begun about 3 months ago when Vanessa mentioned she was seeing someone new. Normally, Olivia would have been the first to hear all the details, what he looked like, where they met their first date. But this time, Vanessa had been strangely evasive. "His name is James. We met through work. It's going well," was all she would say when Olivia asked. No photos, no anecdotes, no invitations to meet him. At first, Olivia had respected what she thought was just her sister's desire for privacy in the early stages of a relationship. After all, Vanessa had been hurt before, and maybe she was just being cautious. But then came the announcement. Vanessa and James were engaged after just 3 months of dating. The news had come via a group text to the family, not even a personal call to Olivia. When Olivia called immediately to congratulate her sister and ask about the proposal details, Vanessa had sounded distant and ended the call quickly, saying she had to go. Confused and hurt, Olivia had tried to arrange a sister's lunch to catch up. "I'd really love to meet James," she'd texted. "When can we get together?" The response had been vague. "We're really busy with wedding planning. Maybe in a few weeks." But weeks passed and Vanessa always had an excuse. She was working late. James was out of town. They had appointments with caterers. Olivia began to worry that something was seriously wrong. Was Vanessa in some kind of controlling relationship? Was she being manipulated or isolated from her family? It wouldn't be the first time a Mitchell woman had fallen for the wrong guy. Their own mother had briefly been engaged to a man who turned out to be married with children in another state. Concerned, Olivia had confided in their parents, but Robert and Eleanor seemed unconcerned. "We've met James several times. He's a lovely young man, very successful," her mother had said. "Vanessa seems very happy." "You've met him?" Olivia had asked, the hurt evident in her voice. "Oh, they've been over for dinner a few times," her father replied casually. "I'm sure you'll meet him soon." But that meeting never came. Instead, formal wedding invitations arrived for her parents and extended family members, while Olivia received nothing. When she finally confronted Vanessa about it over the phone, her sister had sounded cold and distant. "Look, Olivia, I think it's better if you don't attend the wedding," Vanessa had said. "What? Why Vanessa? What's going on?" Olivia had felt her heart pounding in her chest. I need this day to be perfect, and having you there would complicate things. Complicate things. I'm your sister. We've always talked about being each other's maid of honor since we were kids. There had been a long pause before Vanessa responded. Things change, Olivia. People change. I'm sorry, but my mind is made up. And then this morning, the text message had come making the exclusion official and extending it to the engagement party as well. No explanation, just a cold request to stay away. Olivia placed her phone face down on the coffee table and wiped away tears. What could she possibly have done to deserve this? The sister who had once told her it's you and me against the world was now cutting her out of her life without explanation. Something wasn't right, and Olivia was determined to find out what was really going on. After 3 sleepless nights wrestling with her sister's unexplained rejection, Olivia decided she couldn't just accept the situation without understanding why. If Vanessa wouldn't tell her directly, she would have to investigate on her own. Perhaps there was something about this mysterious fiancé that Vanessa was hiding, something that might explain her sister's sudden change in behavior. With nothing more than a first name James, and the knowledge that he worked with Vanessa at Boston General Hospital where she was a pediatric nurse, Olivia began her search. She started with social media, checking Vanessa's accounts for any glimpse of the man who had somehow driven a wedge between them. But Vanessa had always been private online, and there were no photos or mentions of her engagement or fiancé. Olivia's next step was to call her cousin Morgan, who also worked at Boston General as an administrative assistant. "Morgan, have you met Vanessa's fiancé?" she asked, trying to keep her voice casual. "James, yeah, at the hospital fundraiser last month. Handsome guy, very charming." "Why do you ask? I haven't had the chance to meet him yet," Olivia admitted. "What department does he work in?" "He's one of the new cardiothoracic surgeons. Big shot from what I hear. Transferred from Chicago about 4 months ago. Cardiothoracic surgeon, Chicago. It wasn't much, but it was something." After thanking Morgan, Olivia continued her research. She found the hospital's public directory and located Dr. James Thompson listed under the cardiothoracic surgery department. With a full name, her search became more fruitful. James Thompson had completed his residency at Northwestern Memorial in Chicago before moving to Boston. His professional profile on the hospital website showed a handsome man in his mid-30s, with dark hair and a confident smile. Something about him seemed vaguely familiar, but Olivia couldn't place where she might have seen him before. She dug deeper, searching public records and news archives. And then, on page 3 of her search results, she found an article from the Chicago Tribune, dated 2 years ago, "Local surgeon cleared in medical malpractice suit." The article featured a photo of Dr. James Thompson leaving a courthouse, and beside him, holding his hand supportively, was a woman who was definitely not Vanessa. The caption read, "Dr. James Thompson with his fiancée Rebecca Winters after the verdict was announced." Fiancé. The word hit Olivia like a physical blow. She quickly searched for more information about Rebecca Winters and found her social media profiles. Most were private, but her LinkedIn page showed she was still working as a pharmaceutical sales representative in Chicago. Had James left a fiancé behind in Chicago, or worse, was he still engaged to this woman while planning to marry Vanessa? Olivia's mind raced with possibilities, none of them good. But the real shock came when Olivia found Rebecca Winters' Instagram account. It wasn't private, and scrolling through it, Olivia saw recent photos of Rebecca still wearing an engagement ring, still referring to Jay and my fiancé in her captions. The most recent post from just 2 weeks ago mentioned counting down to the big day and long-distance planning is tough but worth it. James Thompson was engaged to 2 women at once. Olivia felt sick to her stomach. This had to be why Vanessa was keeping her away. Perhaps James had recognized Olivia's name and realized she might expose him. Olivia had worked for a healthcare consulting firm that had done a project with Northwestern Memorial 3 years ago. She might have even met James during that time, which would explain why he looked familiar. Determined to confirm her suspicions, Olivia called her former colleague Dan, who had led the Northwestern project. Dan, this is a strange question, but do you remember working with a cardiothoracic surgeon named James Thompson while we were at Northwestern Thompson? Sure, he was on the committee for the new surgical wing. Smart guy, bit of a player though. Why do you ask, player? What do you mean? Dan chuckled. Oh, he had a reputation. Always flirting with the nurses and female doctors despite being engaged to that pharmaceutical rep who was always bringing lunch for the department. What was her name? Rebecca something. Olivia's heart sank. Was he the tall one with the dark hair? Very confident. That's him. Don't tell me you're interested. Last I heard he was still with Rebecca. They've been engaged for like 3 years or something crazy. No, nothing like that, Olivia assured him. Just connecting some dots. After hanging up, Olivia sat in stunned silence. Her sister was engaged to a man who was already engaged to someone else. A man with a reputation for being untrustworthy with women. And somehow, Vanessa was excluding Olivia from the wedding because of it. Did Vanessa know about Rebecca? Was she deliberately proceeding with the wedding despite knowing James was committed to another woman? Or was she completely in the dark, manipulated by a practiced liar? Either way, Olivia knew she had to act. Her sister was heading for either heartbreak or a scandal or both. But how could she intervene when Vanessa had made it clear she wanted Olivia to stay away? Would Vanessa even believe her, or would she assume Olivia was trying to sabotage her happiness out of jealousy? Olivia needed proof, undeniable, evidence that James Thompson was living a double life. And she needed a plan to present that evidence in a way that Vanessa would be forced to acknowledge. Her sister's happiness and future were at stake, and despite Vanessa's rejection, Olivia wasn't about to let her walk blindly into disaster. Olivia spent the next week gathering evidence of James Thompson's deception. Each new discovery made her more certain that her sister was being manipulated by a practiced con artist. Through careful research and reaching out to former contacts in Chicago, she learned that James and Rebecca had been engaged for nearly 4 years, repeatedly postponing their wedding due to his demanding career schedule. Rebecca's social media revealed that she believed James was in Boston for a 1-year specialized fellowship, after which he would return to Chicago where they would finally marry. She spoke of monthly visits and daily video calls. Meanwhile, Vanessa was planning a wedding for just 2 months from now, clearly with no intention of it being a temporary arrangement. The most disturbing discovery came when Olivia found financial records showing that James had recently taken out a large loan using Vanessa's address, despite having been in Boston for only a few months. This wasn't just emotional manipulation, it had the hallmarks of financial exploitation as well. Armed with a folder of evidence, screenshots, financial documents, testimonials from colleagues who knew of his engagement to Rebecca, Olivia considered her options for exposing the truth. Direct confrontation with Vanessa seemed unlikely to succeed. Her sister had already made it clear she didn't want Olivia involved in her life right now. Going to their parents might work, but Vanessa was as stubborn as she was passionate. If she felt everyone was ganging up on her, she might dig in her heels out of pride. No, Olivia needed a plan that would make the truth undeniable and public enough that Vanessa couldn't simply dismiss it. The engagement party this weekend presented the perfect opportunity. Despite Vanessa's text ordering her to stay away, Olivia knew the venue, the rooftop garden at the Harborview Hotel. It was a public space technically, even if the terrace itself would be reserved for the party. The hotel's main restaurant overlooked the same garden, separated only by a row of planters. Olivia made a reservation for one at the restaurant, timed for the middle of the engagement party. But she wouldn't be alone for long. After much deliberation, Olivia had reached out to Rebecca Winters with a carefully worded message. "My name is Olivia Mitchell. You don't know me, but I believe we have something important in common. James Thompson. I have reason to believe he is being dishonest with both of us. If you're willing to hear what I've discovered, please call me." Rebecca had called within an hour, her voice tense with worry. When Olivia explained the situation, that James was engaged to her sister while apparently still engaged to Rebecca, the initial disbelief quickly gave way to anger. That lying, cheating, Rebecca had stopped herself. "I need proof. I can't believe this without solid evidence." "I have plenty," Olivia assured her. "And I have a plan to expose him if you're willing to help. Are you able to come to Boston this weekend?" Now sitting in her apartment reviewing her plan, Olivia felt a mixture of determination and dread. She was about to crash her sister's engagement party with the other fiancé in tow, a move that would undoubtedly create a scene. Vanessa might never forgive her for the public embarrassment. But the alternative, letting her sister marry a manipulative liar who was stringing along two women at once, was unthinkable. Olivia's phone buzzed with a text from Rebecca. "Flight booked. Arriving Friday night. This better not be some kind of mistake." "It's not," Olivia typed back. "I wish it were." She had arranged for Rebecca to stay in the same hotel as the engagement party. They would meet beforehand to go over the evidence once more and finalize their approach. The plan was simple but effective. They would both be at the restaurant during the party, and when the moment was right, likely during toasts when everyone was gathered, they would approach together. Rebecca would confront James directly with Olivia, providing support and the additional evidence they had gathered. The public setting would prevent James from dismissing the accusations or manipulating the situation. Vanessa would have to see the truth with her own eyes. It was a dramatic solution, but Olivia felt it was necessary. Her sister deserved to know the truth before she committed her life to a man who had already demonstrated he couldn't be trusted. And if that truth had to come with some public discomfort, so be it. Better a scene at an engagement party than a devastating discovery after the wedding. As she packed away her evidence folder, Olivia felt a pang of sadness. This wasn't how she had imagined being involved in her sister's engagement. She had pictured helping choose the perfect dress, arranging bridal showers, giving an emotional toast as maid of honor. Instead, she was planning to expose the groom as a fraud. But that was the thing about family. Sometimes loving someone meant doing what was right for them, not what was easy. And right now, Vanessa needed the truth even if she didn't want it. Olivia just hoped that once the dust settled, her sister would understand why she had acted so drastically. She hoped their bond was strong enough to survive not just James's betrayal, but this intervention as well. Friday couldn't come soon enough. The evening of the engagement party arrived with perfect weather, warm with a gentle breeze coming off the harbor. From her table at the restaurant overlooking the rooftop garden, Olivia could see the party setup, white roses and twinkling lights, champagne flutes catching the golden hour sun, and a small string quartet preparing to play. It was exactly the kind of elegant romantic scene Vanessa had always dreamed of for her engagement. Olivia's heart ached, knowing she was about to shatter that dream. But as she watched James Thompson working the room, all confident smiles and charm, her resolve strengthened. This man was living a lie, two lies actually, and her sister deserved better. Rebecca sat across from Olivia, fidgeting with her napkin. She was prettier in person than in photos, with warm brown eyes and a determined set to her jaw. She still wore her engagement ring, a modest diamond that caught the light when she moved her hand. "That's definitely him," Rebecca confirmed, her eyes locked on James. "I can't believe he's doing this. 4 years together and he's just starting another life. Who does that? Someone who thinks he can get away with it," Olivia replied. "Are you ready for this?" Rebecca nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be." "Do you see your sister yet?" Olivia scanned the gathering crowd until she spotted Vanessa, radiant in a pale blue dress. her dark hair swept up in an elegant twist. She was laughing at something their mother had said, looking happier than Olivia had seen her in years. For a moment, Olivia hesitated. Was she doing the right thing? Would it be kinder to wait to find a more private moment for this revelation? But then she saw James approach Vanessa, sliding an arm possessively around her waist. He whispered something in her ear, and Vanessa beamed up at him with complete trust and adoration. That look, the look of someone who believed they had found their perfect partner, cemented Olivia's decision. Vanessa needed to know the truth now, before her heart became even more invested. They waited until the formal part of the evening began. James's best man clinked a glass to gather everyone's attention, and the guests formed a semicircle around the couple. This was the moment, with everyone focused on James and Vanessa. There would be no opportunity for James to slip away or dismiss the confrontation. "Let's go," Olivia said, standing up. Rebecca followed, clutching her purse where she kept her own evidence, photos of her and James together, text messages, even a copy of a lease they had signed together in Chicago just 3 months ago. As they approached the rooftop entrance, a server stopped them. "I'm sorry, this is a private event." Olivia stood tall. "My name is Olivia Mitchell. I'm the sister of the bride-to-be." The server frowned. "I don't see your name on the guest list." "Trust me, we're expected," Rebecca interjected, her voice steady with suppressed anger. "James Thompson is certainly expecting at least one of us." Before the confused server could respond, Olivia's father spotted her from across the terrace. "Olivia, what are you doing here? Your sister specifically said." "Dad, I need to talk to Vanessa. It's important, it's about James." Robert Mitchell's expression darkened. "Olivia, this isn't the time or place for whatever issue you and your sister need to work out. This isn't about me and Vanessa," Olivia insisted. "It's about him. He's engaged to someone else. He's lying to all of you." Her father's eyes widened, then flicked to Rebecca, noting the engagement ring on her finger. "What is this? Who are you?" "I'm Rebecca Winters," she said clearly. "James Thompson's fiancé of 4 years. The best man's speech faltered as the commotion at the entrance drew attention. Heads turned, including Vanessa's. Her smile froze when she saw Olivia, then transformed into an expression of fury. She marched toward them, James trailing behind with a confused look that quickly shifted to alarm when he spotted Rebecca. "Olivia, I told you not to come," Vanessa hissed when she reached them. "How dare you show up here?" And her words died as she registered Rebecca's presence. "Who is this?" "Vanessa." Olivia began gently. "This is Rebecca Winters. I'm engaged to James." Rebecca cut in, her voice carrying across the now silent terrace. "I have been for 4 years. We lived together in Chicago. Or at least we did, until he said he was coming to Boston for a 1-year fellowship." All eyes turned to James, who had gone pale. "Becca, what are you doing here?" He managed his charm, evaporating. "Finding out the truth," Rebecca replied. "Did you really think you could maintain 2 separate lives? 2 separate fiancés?" Vanessa looked between them, confusion and disbelief warring on her face. "James, what is she talking about? Who is this woman?" For a moment, James seemed at a loss for words. Then his expression hardened, and he reached for Vanessa's hand. "Baby, I don't know what this is about, but someone's clearly trying to sabotage our happiness. Rebecca is my ex. We broke up before I moved to Boston." "That's a lie," Rebecca declared, pulling out her phone. "We spoke yesterday. You said you were at a medical conference this weekend." She turned to Vanessa. "Did you know he's been taking out loans using your address? Did you know he still has a lease with me in Chicago? Did you know he's been lying to both of us for months?" "Don't listen to her," James urged Vanessa. "Your sister put her up to this. Olivia's always been jealous of you, hasn't she? Always wanted what you have." Vanessa's eyes darted to Olivia, hurt and confusion evident. "Is that true? Did you put her up to this because I didn't make you my maid of honor?" What? No, Olivia was stunned by the accusation. Vanessa, I only found out about Rebecca this week. I've been trying to figure out why you suddenly shut me out, and this is what I discovered. James is living a double life. You guys, I've never seen anything quite like what happened next in that rooftop garden. I wish you could have been there to witness it. If you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping family drama. The truth about why my sister really kept me away from her wedding is about to come out. And trust me, you'll want to hear how karma finally caught up with everyone involved. The rooftop garden had transformed from a celebration venue into what felt like a courtroom, with James Thompson standing trial before the shocked guests. Vanessa stood rigid beside him, her face a mask of conflicting emotions, while Rebecca and Olivia faced them with determination. "Show her," Rebecca said to Olivia, nodding toward the evidence folder. Hands slightly trembling, Olivia opened the folder and began laying out the documents on a nearby table. "Vanessa, these are financial records showing James took out a $50,000 loan using your address as his primary residence. This is a copy of the lease he signed in Chicago with Rebecca 3 months ago. These are screenshots of text messages between them from this week." Vanessa stared at the documents, her expression unreadable. Then slowly she turned to James. "Is this true? Are you engaged to her too?" James ran a hand through his hair, his confident demeanor crumbling as he realized he couldn't charm his way out of the situation. "It's complicated, Vanessa. Rebecca and I have history, yes, but what you and I have is special. Don't you dare," Rebecca cut in. "Don't you dare try to minimize our relationship. 4 years, James. 4 years of my life waiting for you to finally set a wedding date, believing every excuse about your career coming first. And how long have you and my sister been engaged?" Olivia asked him directly. James's jaw tightened. 3 months. 3 months, Olivia repeated, looking at Vanessa. 3 months, and he's already taking out loans with your address. Have you co-signed anything for him, Vanessa? Given him access to your accounts? A flash of recognition crossed Vanessa's face, quickly replaced by horror. "The down payment for the condo," she whispered. "You said your funds were temporarily tied up in the transfer from Chicago. How much?" Rebecca asked softly. $30,000. Vanessa admitted, her voice small. Rebecca let out a bitter laugh. "Let me guess, he promised to pay you back once his bonuses came through. That's what he told me when I helped with his Porsche down payment last year." The pieces were falling into place, and Olivia could see her sister beginning to accept the terrible truth. But there was still one question that burned in her mind. "Vanessa, why did you tell me to stay away from the wedding? Did James ask you to exclude me?" For the first time that evening, Vanessa looked directly at Olivia, tears welling in her eyes. He said you two had history. That you had an inappropriate relationship during your consulting work at Northwestern, and you might cause problems if you felt jealous seeing him with me." Olivia's jaw dropped. "What, I barely remember meeting him. I certainly never had any kind of relationship with him. He showed me texts," Vanessa insisted. "Flirtatious messages from you. Those weren't from me, Vanessa. They couldn't have been." Olivia turned to Rebecca. "But I bet he's received plenty of flirtatious texts over the years, hasn't he?" Rebecca nodded grimly. "From multiple women. It's part of his pattern. He creates conflict between people who could compare notes. He told me his mother was controlling and we shouldn't visit her. Told my best friend Amelia that I had complained about her weight gain so she wouldn't be around us as much." "Divide and conquer," Olivia murmured, the full extent of James's manipulation becoming clear. "He isolated each of us from the people who could have spotted the inconsistencies." Throughout this exchange, James had been growing increasingly agitated, looking around as if searching for an escape route. "This is ridiculous," he finally sputtered. "You're making me sound like some kind of mastermind." "So, I dated 2 women at once. It happens all the time," Rebecca echoed incredulously. We're engaged. We've been planning a wedding. I've been looking at venues in Chicago while you've been what? Planning a completely different wedding here. And what about the money? Vanessa asked, her voice stronger. Now. My down payment. The loan you took out using my address. James took a step back. I can explain all of that. Business investments, temporary cash flow issues. Stop lying, Vanessa. Cut him off. Just stop. I want my money back. And mine, Rebecca added. James's expression darkened. You'll get your money when I'm ready to give it back. You have no proof I wasn't planning to repay you. Actually came a new voice from the crowd. We might have something to say about that. A middle-aged man in a suit stepped forward, accompanied by a woman with a badge clipped to her blazer. Detective Sandra Reynolds, Boston Police Department. The woman introduced herself. And this is Agent Marcus Teller, FBI Financial Crimes Unit. The blood drained from James's face. What is this, doctor? Thompson. Agent Teller said calmly, we've been investigating a pattern of financial fraud across several states. Would you mind coming with us to answer some questions? You set me up, James hissed at Olivia. You planned this whole thing, Olivia shook her head. I had no idea the FBI was investigating you. I just wanted my sister to know the truth. We've been tracking Dr. Thompson for months, Detective Reynolds explained to the stunned gathering. When Miss Mitchell contacted the hospital administration with her concerns about potential fraud, they reached out to us as we had already requested information about Dr. Thompson's credentials. Olivia turned to Vanessa in surprise. You reported him to the hospital. No, Vanessa said slowly. I didn't. All eyes turned to the Mitchell sisters' mother, Eleanor, who stood with her arms crossed. I did, she admitted. After you came to us with your concerns, Olivia, I started paying attention to some inconsistencies in James's stories. The timing didn't add up. So I made some calls. Mom Vanessa's voice was a mixture of betrayal and gratitude. You investigated my fiancé. I investigated a man who was taking advantage of my daughter, Eleanor corrected firmly, and it seems I was right to do so. As Detective Reynolds and Agent Teller escorted a protesting James from the rooftop, the engagement party guests stood in shocked silence. The string quartet, unsure what to do, had stopped playing long ago. The champagne sat untouched in flutes across the tables. Vanessa sank into a chair, her perfect evening shattered. Rebecca stood awkwardly to the side, still processing the revelation that her fiancé was potentially a criminal as well as a cheater. And Olivia hung back, uncertain whether her sister would want her comfort after all that had happened. But then Vanessa looked up, tears streaming down her face, and held out her hand. Olivia, she choked out. I'm so sorry. I should have known better than to believe him over you. Olivia rushed to her sister's side, taking her outstretched hand. You couldn't have known, Vanessa. He was manipulating all of us. But I shut you out, Vanessa sobbed. My own sister. I told you to stay away from my wedding because a man I barely knew convinced me you were trying to steal him. How could I have been so stupid? Hey, Olivia said, softly kneeling beside her sister's chair. You weren't stupid. You were in love. And he was very, very good at lying. Rebecca approached them hesitantly. I was with him for 4 years and had no idea he was living another life. If anyone should feel stupid, it's me. The 3 women looked at each other, victims of the same man's elaborate deceptions brought together by the very lies meant to keep them apart. And in that moment, something unexpected happened. Vanessa gave a small hiccuping laugh. Some engagement party, huh? She said shakily. I don't even know what to do now. First, Olivia suggested we get you home and pour a very large glass of wine. Then we figure out how to get your money back. One step at a time. Vanessa nodded, then glanced at Rebecca. You should come too. I think we have a lot to talk about. Rebecca gave a sad smile. I'd like that. I have a feeling we've got quite a few stories to compare. As the three women prepared to leave the disastrous party behind, Olivia felt a strange mixture of sadness and relief. The night had not gone as planned. There had been no joyful toasts, no celebration of love. Instead, there had been painful truths and the collapse of what had seemed like a perfect relationship. But there had also been a different kind of truth revealed: the enduring strength of family bonds that could withstand even the most calculated attempts to break them. Vanessa had believed James over Olivia because she was in love and manipulated, but when faced with evidence, she had chosen truth and her sister over the comfortable lie. As they walked toward the elevator, Vanessa squeezed Olivia's hand. "Thank you," she whispered, "for not giving up on me even when I pushed you away." "Blood runs deeper than anything," Olivia replied, echoing their grandmother's words. "I'll always be here for you, no matter what." The 3 weeks following the disastrous engagement party passed in a blur of police interviews, legal consultations, and emotional processing. Olivia, Vanessa, and surprisingly, Rebecca had formed an unlikely alliance, supporting each other through the fallout of James Thompson's deceptions. The FBI investigation revealed that James's financial schemes extended far beyond what they had initially discovered. He had been systematically defrauding not just his fiancés, but also colleagues, friends, and even patients, using his position as a respected surgeon to gain trust before exploiting it. He had 7 active loans under 3 different names, Agent Teller explained during one of their meetings at the FBI field office. "And we've identified at least 4 other women across the country who believed they were in exclusive relationships with him, 2 of whom also provided him with significant loans that were never repaid." Vanessa had been devastated by the scope of the deception, but resolute in her determination to move forward. "I feel like I should have seen the signs," she confessed to Olivia one evening as they sorted through the gifts that would need to be returned. "There were so many red flags." "Like what?" Olivia asked gently. "He always had excuses for why I couldn't meet his friends from Chicago. He was intensely interested in my finances from very early on. He would get these calls and step out of the room to take them, claiming they were about patients." Vanessa sighed. "And he was so adamant about keeping you away. I should have known something was wrong when he tried to come between us." The most painful revelation had come when they learned that James had specifically targeted Vanessa after discovering her connection to Olivia. His time at Northwestern had indeed overlapped with Olivia's consulting work, and he had recognized her name when Vanessa mentioned her sister during their first date. Rather than risk exposure of his past, he had strategically driven a wedge between the sisters. "He knew I might recognize him," Olivia realized with horror, "so he made sure I'd never get close enough to see through his lies." "It's almost impressive how calculated he was," Rebecca said during one of their now regular wine nights. The 3 women had developed an unexpected friendship bonding over their shared experience. "Terrible, but impressive." "Sociopaths often are," Vanessa replied, having done extensive research on personality disorders since the revelation. "They're charming, strategic, and completely without empathy." James checked every box. The financial recovery process was ongoing, with both Vanessa and Rebecca likely to get at least a portion of their money back once the legal proceedings concluded. James's assets had been frozen, and the FBI had recovered significant sums from his various accounts. But the emotional recovery was proving more complex. Vanessa had gone from planning her dream wedding to testifying against her ex-fiancé in a federal fraud case. She had faced embarrassing questions from colleagues at the hospital and pitying looks from friends who had attended the engagement party. But through it all, she had maintained her dignity and, with time, her sense of humor. "At least I found out before the wedding," she said one day, attempting to find the silver lining. Can you imagine discovering all this after legally changing my name to Thompson? Olivia had been by her sister's side throughout the ordeal, attending every meeting with lawyers, helping draft statements for the investigation, and simply being present on the nights when the reality of what had happened hit Vanessa particularly hard. Their bond, tested by James's manipulations, had emerged stronger than ever. "I still can't believe I told you to stay away from my wedding," Vanessa said one evening as they sorted through her apartment, removing the last traces of James from her life. "Over a man I'd known for 3 months. What was I thinking?" "You were thinking you were in love," Olivia replied, carefully wrapping a photo frame and placing it in a box marked "Donate." "Love makes us vulnerable." "But it shouldn't make us stupid," Vanessa insisted. "It shouldn't make us turn against our own family." Olivia sat beside her sister on the couch. "Hey, look at me. You weren't stupid. You were targeted by someone who does this for a living, someone who has perfected the art of manipulation. And when it mattered, when you were presented with the truth, you believed it. That's what counts. I just wish I'd listened to you sooner." "Well," Olivia said with a small smile, "next time a too-good-to-be-true surgeon sweeps you off your feet, maybe run him by me first." Vanessa laughed, a genuine laugh that had been rare in recent weeks. "Deal." As for Rebecca, she had decided to stay in Boston for a while, taking a leave of absence from her job in Chicago to cooperate fully with the investigation. She had been offered a position with a pharmaceutical company in the area and was considering making the move permanent. "Chicago has too many memories now," she explained. "And weirdly, Boston is starting to feel like home. I have actual friends here who know the real me, not the sanitized version James allowed me to present." The 3 women had created their own support system, helping each other navigate not just the practical fallout of James's fraud, but also the emotional journey of trusting again after such profound betrayal. They called themselves the Fiancé Club, a dark joke that somehow made the situation more manageable. In many ways, James had unintentionally given them each a gift, the gift of strength, resilience, and genuine connection that had emerged from the ashes of his deception. 6 months after the engagement party that ended with an FBI arrest, Olivia stood in her kitchen preparing dinner for what had become a weekly tradition: Sunday night meals with Vanessa and Rebecca. Their unlikely friendship had blossomed into something none of them had anticipated, a silver lining to the dark cloud James Thompson had cast over their lives. The legal proceedings were progressing steadily. James had been charged with multiple counts of fraud, identity theft, and financial crimes across 3 states. Facing overwhelming evidence and testimony from a growing list of victims who had come forward after hearing about his arrest, he had agreed to a plea deal. Sentencing was scheduled for next month, and both Vanessa and Rebecca planned to deliver victim impact statements. "The stakes are almost ready," Olivia called out as she heard the front door open. "We brought wine," Vanessa announced, entering the kitchen with Rebecca behind her, both carrying bottles and wide smiles. "And news." "News?" Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Good news, I hope the best," Rebecca confirmed, setting down her bottle and pulling an envelope from her purse. "This arrived yesterday. Restitution checks for both of us." "They recovered the money," Olivia gasped. "Most of it," Vanessa nodded. "Turns out our charming ex had quite the nest egg hidden away." The FBI found offshore accounts with nearly $500,000. "Stolen from who knows how many victims," Rebecca added. "But being returned to at least some of them," Olivia said, raising her glass in a toast. "That's definitely worth celebrating." They moved to the dining room where Olivia had set the table with candles and fresh flowers, small touches of beauty and normalcy that had become increasingly important in their healing process. As they settled in to eat, Vanessa cleared her throat. "I have more news, actually." She looked nervous but excited. "I've been offered a position with Doctors Without Borders. A 6-month assignment in Guatemala." "Vanessa, that's amazing," Olivia exclaimed. "When do you leave?" "Next month, right after the sentencing." She took a deep breath. I need a fresh start. New places, new people who don't know me as that nurse who almost married a con man. Olivia reached across the table to squeeze her sister's hand. I think it's perfect. Mom and Dad will worry, of course, but they'll understand. They already do, Vanessa smiled. Mom said she was proud of me for reclaiming my narrative, whatever that means. It means not letting what happened define you, Rebecca offered. Speaking of which, I accepted that job offer in Boston. Signed the lease on an apartment yesterday. So you're staying. Olivia was delighted by this news. Where's the apartment? Beacon Hill. Small but charming, with actual neighbors instead of just empty units rented through temporary rental sites like James's place was. She rolled her eyes. Another red flag I missed. He always had an excuse for why the building seemed empty and why I could never meet the neighbors during my visits. He thought of everything, Vanessa mused, except for the possibility that his careful plans might fall apart. That was his biggest mistake, Olivia said. He underestimated the power of family and friendship. She raised her glass again. To unexpected bonds forged in difficult times. And to moving forward, Vanessa added. To justice served, Rebecca concluded with satisfaction. They clinked glasses, and Olivia felt a profound sense of closure washing over her. 6 months ago, she had been devastated by her sister's inexplicable rejection. Now, not only had their relationship been restored, but they had both gained a new friend and a deeper understanding of their own resilience. Later that evening, as they sat in Olivia's living room sharing stories and laughter, Olivia reflected on how dramatically their lives had changed. Vanessa was preparing for an adventure that would allow her to use her nursing skills to help those truly in need. Rebecca was building a new life in Boston, having turned a potential disaster into an opportunity for growth. And Olivia had rediscovered the unbreakable bond with her sister that no outside force could permanently damage. James Thompson had entered their lives like a hurricane, threatening to destroy everything in his path. But, in the aftermath of the storm, they had rebuilt something stronger and more beautiful than what had existed before. You know what I realized recently? Vanessa said, interrupting Olivia's thoughts. If James hadn't tried to keep us apart, if he hadn't told me to exclude you from the wedding, you might never have investigated him. His own manipulation was what ultimately exposed him. Karma. Rebecca nodded. He created his own downfall. And our new beginning, Olivia added softly. The three women looked at each other, connected by an experience none of them would have chosen, but all of them had survived together. The betrayal that could have torn them apart had instead created an unbreakable circle of trust, support, and genuine friendship. As the evening wound down and they prepared to part ways, Vanessa pulled Olivia into a tight hug. "Thank you," she whispered. "For not giving up on me even when I pushed you away. For fighting for the truth even when it was easier to stay silent." "That's what sisters do," Olivia replied simply. "We fight for each other no matter what." And in that moment, with her sister in her arms and their unexpected new friend looking on, Olivia knew that some bonds truly were stronger than deception, stronger than betrayal, stronger than the most elaborate lies. Blood ran deeper than anything, just as their grandmother had always said. But the family we choose, the friends who stand beside us in our darkest moments, could be just as vital, just as enduring. The road ahead would not always be easy. There would be difficult days, moments of doubt, and the ongoing challenge of learning to trust again. But they would face whatever came next the same way they had faced the past 6 months together, one day at a time, stronger for having weathered the storm. Wow, thank you all for staying with me until the end of this incredible journey. I'm curious, has anyone in your family ever experienced a similar betrayal or discovered a secret that changed everything? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life family drama. Don't forget to share this video with someone who appreciates stories about karma and justice. I'm so grateful for this amazing community that allows me to share these personal moments. Remember, sometimes life's biggest challenges lead to unexpected blessings. Just like my sister's fake fiancé ultimately strengthened our bond more than ever. See you in the next video.